꺼진 거리 찾는 사이로 조용히 스며드는 새벽 의미 없는 이야기들도 누워있으면 길어져 식어버린 커피 한 잔에 시간은 천천히 흐르고
Hi loves! Today we're doing a daily look for monolids. We're going to start off with foundation. Whether you're using liquid or cushion foundation, tap it on your hand first to get rid of any extra product and apply a thin layer on your face. The key to a natural makeup look is making sure that our base looks flawless, just like our skin, but better. So instead of using a lot of product to go for a full coverage coat right away, we want to build our base in thin layers, reapplying as many times as we need. Here, the diagram shows where I'm focusing on. As you can see, I'm applying on the major areas where I want to cover and then spreading it out from there. Tip number 1. I'm going to spray setting spray on my cushion so it melts all the foundation together into one layer and makes it extra smooth as I pat it in. I'm going to go in again for a second layer so I can cover my redness. I'll pay special attention to cover my eyelids so I have a clean base for when we do our eye makeup later. I'll also make sure to brush around the sides of my mouth and nose, where my skin is darker and uneven toned. I think foundation is one of my favorite steps of doing makeup because even if it's just a cushion or if it's using a brush, somehow it makes you feel so professional, like we're getting ready and we're doing our base. Next, I'll do concealer to finish our base. I'll use Salmon to cover my dark under eye circles. Don't use too much product since we'll be spreading it out later as we blend. You can see I've got some dark spots, which I'm going to cover with our concealer later. Here's a graphic I made explaining how I generally use my palette. Here, I'm using the darkest shade to cover my dark spots and blend it with my overall face color. Make sure not to use the lightest shade of concealer when you're trying to blend something in because it's going to do the opposite effect and draw more attention to those areas instead. Now I'll use the lightest shade to draw attention to the middle of my face and make it seem more three-dimensional. This requires a lot of blending out, but you can use your fingers, a puff, or a brush to blend. Finally, I'll set it with my setting spray and use a setting powder to cover up any pore texture and give myself a matte base. Now, let's contour. Use what style works for you. I'm using a series of triangles to fill in the empty space on my face and deepen my natural shadows. I'm curious what you guys think about when you guys do your makeup. For me, normally my brain is pretty empty, and I love listening to music. Right now, my favorite artist is aespa and IVE. Next, I'll take my Judy Doll palette and brush the sides of my nose to make it seem sharper and more defined. I'll also brush the curves of my eye socket to give my eyes more definition. I'll brush some on my jaw and below my lip to make my face seem more defined. And finally, I'll cut my nose bridge to shorten my nose and make my face seem more balanced. Because my eyelids have a lot of space, I'm brushing extra shadows underneath the eyebrows to make them less empty. Next, take a color that's close to your skin and pat it around your eyeball. Make sure it's not too warm or too cold for a skin type. The palette I'm using is actually too warm toned, so I ended up having to go back and fix it later. Fun fact, when I bought this in Japan, I accidentally dropped the tester into my shopping cart instead of taking an unopened product, and the employee was super confused when it wouldn't scan and had to go upstairs to get me a new one. Oopsies. Continue brushing around your natural eye socket shape to deepen the color.
어떤 말을 내게 해야 할까? 오늘도 나는 고민을 해봐요. 어떤 말을 네가 좋아할까? 웃음이 나네요. 그런 눈빛으로 날 보면 지금 내 얼굴 빨개지잖아요. 3시간째 말없이 얼굴 맞대고 있죠. 행복한가 봐요. 그대는 beautiful.
This is the part where you really have to trust the process. I know it might look a little crazy right now, but I promise it'll pay off in the end.
그대는 beautiful, 영원히 wonderful. 사랑이 이런 거겠죠. 고맙단 말밖에 못하네요.
Finally, lift your upper eye and use a dark brown to line your waterline. You can use eyeshadow, which is what I'm using here, or use a pen if that's what you would like to do instead. Also use the same dark brown to do your aegosol eyeline and do a template for your eyeliner later.
사랑해서 그런 거예요. 서로의 질투와 믿음, 관심 모든 게 다 사랑.
For aegosol, I like to start in the middle and then brush out as we go. This makes it so that it seems natural and not too thick. Use a dark red color to line your lower lash line. Again, you can use eyeshadow, or if you have a pen like I do here, use a gel liner as well. Using the dark red color will make your eye seem bigger by making it seem like it has more space than it actually does underneath.
두렵긴 해요. 이렇게 행복한 우리가 갈라져 상상도 못할 그 외로움이
draw your eyeliner. Check it from multiple angles, guys, since the last thing you want is for people to see it outlined when you blink. Trust me, I've done that a bunch of times when I was starting out.
모든 순간이 행복한 걸요. 그대는 beautiful. 모든 게 wonderful. 행복은 이런 거겠죠. 그런 그대에게 고마워요. 그대는
Draw a small triangle with the same dark brown eyeshadow to lift the inner corner of your eye. This makes it seem like your eye socket has more definition, and people will naturally pay more attention to it, making them seem bigger. Now, let's do the same for our other eye. Also, I don't know if anyone else relates, but I always have to make a weird face whenever I need to concentrate on doing my makeup. Personally, I think it makes the makeup better. This is one of my all-time favorites, Judy Doll's Slim Liquid Eyeliner. Especially if you're a beginner, it's really hard to get the perfect stroke, but this eyeliner has a really thin tip, which makes it easy to go over again if you make a mistake. Draw your eyebrows with a sharp angled brush straight across with a slight curve. Add in small hairs at the front to balance the spacing. I'm one of those people who have to use a brown color to draw their eyebrows. Black just looks really bad on me, especially since my natural eyebrows don't really have a lot of eyebrow hair to begin with. Eyebrows are really important, so especially if you're just starting out with makeup, I would advise you to try and experiment with a bunch of different styles and see what you like better. They can be closer together, spaced far apart, thicker, wider, sharp, angled, curved, straight, you name it. All of those changes will make you look different. Also, if you want to make them look super clean, use concealer to clean up your eyebrows and get a sharp look. I would also suggest, if you can find one, getting a little razor so that you can trim your eyebrows whenever you need to. Mostly, this just means trimming off any extra hairs, and as a bonus, you can also use it to scrape off any hairs on your face as well. Even though that sounds weird, our skin does have some hairs like peach fuzz, and when you scrape that off, it can make your makeup look a lot more cleaner and smoother, since it doesn't have to fight against those hairs when you try to apply it. Now we'll do highlight, and we're going to pat some emphasis in the middle corners of our eyes and right around our nose so that it looks more sharper and defined. Now let's do blush. I'm going to use a nude blush color or a muted color and pat around your eyes and cheeks. Basically what we're doing here is we're going to use it as contour and tap it around our nose and empty spaces on our face to fill it up. Blush is definitely one of my favorite steps because there's just so many colors out there and all of them make it look so different. In general, when you're picking your blush, try to make sure it matches the overall depth of the other colors that you're using on your face. from eyebrow mascara to eyeshadow, lipstick, and more. You don't want it to be too bright if all the other colors you're using are dark, or oversaturated if everything else you're using doesn't have a lot of pigment. Finally, I'm going to use this ColorGram tint to cover my lips and use the NARS lip to add color. I saw a bunch of people recommend this ColorGram product, but honestly, I feel like it doesn't really do that much on my lips. That might be because I try to make sure I cover my lips with foundation so that my natural lip color won't interfere too much when I apply the lip product. Also, I love this shade Chelsea Girls. It literally looks so natural and is perfect for when I don't want a strong pigmented color on my lips. I kind of think of it like the lip equivalent of foundation. It's your lips, your natural lip color, but better. I'll do a second coat just to get some more color on there. Finally, I'll use my powder to tone down any areas where I'm too shiny to prevent it from looking oily. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested, check out my other video where I recreate a viral makeup look.